guys, welcome back to my channel, Simone here. So today I'm going to be pre-filming a video because I'm going to be on holiday while this video goes up, and this is going to be my overhyped books. Now, I mentioned to my boyfriend that I was filming this video and he was like, I know two off the top of my head. One of them is in this video, so I won't say that now, but the other one he said was The Great Gatsby by, I can't remember who it's by. That's really bad. F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I can totally understand why he thought that, because if you don't know, I really dislike that book. I may give it a 1 star, and I know everybody loves it. But for me, when I talk about that, for me is a video that I did called Popular Books That I Don't Like, or like books that everyone loves that I don't like, which I'll link below. But this video is more about books that I thought were okay. Like I gave like a 2 or a 3 star to, which everyone else seems to think are like 5 star, like overrated in terms of everyone raves about them and I just think they're alright. So that's the type of video I'm doing today, so you'll know kind of what kind of books are coming up. It's not going to be books that I hate, it's books that I'm kind of indifferent about. So let's get started. So the first book on this list is actually a play, and this is Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, which is one of those things that everybody read at school and everybody knows the story of, and I just don't think it's that, like, it's good, but it's not like that good. I think I gave this a 3 star, and although I did like it and I do enjoy the kind of message behind it, I also find it really difficult to read. I actually read the play. I read the play, I can't remember, a few years ago now, outside of school, like when I was, you know, just to read it myself, and I didn't love it. It was okay, like I said, and there was just certain things in it which weirded me out, like the fact that Juliet is really young and Romeo is older than her. I don't know, I found this really strange, and the whole thing about like this is the like typical insta love, surely, the fact that they fall in love and they've literally seen each other once. So I don't know, something about it just weirded me out, and I just don't think it's as good as everybody else says. Book number 2 on this list is a bit of a controversial one, as to be fair most of these books are, but it is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Now, do not get me wrong, I did really enjoy the book The Book Thief, but I don't think the book is as good as people make out. I actually much prefer the film to this. I watched the film and I would give it a 5 out of 5 stars, but I gave the book a 3 star because I've mentioned this before, but it is narrated by Death, and if you don't know what The Book Thief is about, it follows a young girl named Liesl who is, and it's set during the Second World War, and basically she is being adopted or fostered, should I say, by a German family because her parents have gone to a concentration camp, and this is about her, and she is learning to read while they're like burning the books and things, so she's kind of very protective over the books and things. And like I said, this is narrated by Death, and so I felt very distant from the characters in this, which is the thing I mostly struggled with. Like I said, I did enjoy the book and it was a very emotional book, but for me it could have been better if it had been either written in the 3rd person, like just generally, rather than from a Death character. Something about it just really didn't sit well with me, and I just didn't really connect as well as I did in the film. So it was a bit overrated for me in terms of the writing. Then I have Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Now, as you know, I read this I think last year, and I gave this a 3 star. It was okay, it just wasn't my favourite, and to be honest with you, I was kind of hoping I wasn't going to like it just because of Orson Scott Card as a person. I didn't really want to support his work, and now I didn't really like it that much. It was okay. I don't feel like I need to read any more. It follows a boy named Ender who essentially is being trained to fight aliens, and like I said, it was very like tactical and very kind of I don't know, there was specific language and things, and I didn't love this. Like I said, it read to me like a poor version of The Giver by Lois Lowry. Not all the elements, but there were parts of it that reminded me of it. And yeah, like I said, this wasn't amazing. It was definitely an overrated book for me, and I don't plan on reading any more of Orson Scott Card's books. Next up, I have one that's a bit more popular more recently because the TV series came out, and that is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. This is a book that follows the aftermath of a girl named Hannah Baker's suicide, and she has left 13 tapes to different people, basically blaming each one of them for the reason why she killed herself. And I found this to be very troublesome. I personally felt like it was glorifying the idea of suicide, and it was making it seem like something that should be done as revenge, which I am not comfortable with. I don't think that suicide is done as a revenge thing. I just felt like if she was contemplating suicide, I don't think the first thing in her mind would be to blame the people, like to make tapes blaming the people that she thinks have got something to do with it, because I just don't feel like that is something that would go through your mind. And so this did really, I struggle with it. Like I said, the TV series, the first one came out last year, I think, and then the second season's just come out when I'm filming this, so obviously this is pre-filmed, so it's like a month or so ago now. But yeah, there's something about this I just didn't really like. I felt it was really odd and kind of awkward, and I know a lot of people like this, but again, I think it's the way that the TV show divided people. I think the book has as well, so for me this was overrated and I just wasn't a big fan. Then up next I have a much loved book by a lot of people, and I've not seen the film yet, but this is Life of Pi by Yann Martel. Now I gave this a 2-star because of the way it was written. I thought the story was quite interesting. It's basically about a boy, or a man should I say, who, is it a man or a boy at the time? I can't really remember, I think he's a boy. But he gets stranded in a lifeboat with a tiger on the boat. Now it's a long story as to how he gets there, but yeah, basically it's about him trying to survive with a tiger on a boat and very little food. And yeah, but the way it's written is in like interview style. Well, part of it is in interview style, and it's people, like a conversation kind of thing, and I don't really know how to feel about it. I feel like it was very kind of wishy-washy, and it was almost like a case of did it really happen or didn't it at the end, and I really hate that whole he woke up and it was all a dream, like, and that's the kind of sense of this I got. Not completely, I mean, to be honest, I still don't fully understand the ending of the book, but yeah, I didn't like this book. I know a lot of people love the film, so maybe it's the film that's better, but I read the book and I really wasn't that interested. Next up is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and as I said before, these are not books that I did not like. I actually really quite enjoyed The Shadow of the Wind. I gave it a 3-star, but to me it wasn't what everybody was telling me it was going to be. I think it was kind of the way that people had talked about it. I thought this was going to be like my new favourite book, and I did enjoy it, but I didn't love it to that extent. This follows a boy named Daniel who, as a child, he's taken to the Cemetery of Forgotten Books by his father, and he's allowed to pick a book from that place. And then as he gets older, he reads the book and he wants to find out more about the author and read more of his works, but he finds out that somebody is going around burning all of the books by this author, and he wants to find out why. And so it's kind of like him digging into the life story of the author and kind of trying to figure out what happened. Now, I feel like, and I don't know, I've not heard anyone else make this comparison, but to me, there's a big, like, it reminds me a lot of Night Film by Marisha Pessl, and I'm not sure entirely why, but there is a lot of, like, similarities in terms of the trying to find out, I think, people's backstories and kind of, like, moving around and trying to figure stuff out and not completely having the permission to do that. And maybe it's just a storyline thing, but to me I just felt like this very similar, and I loved Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I gave it a 5-star, so I think maybe that's why I didn't love this one as much, because I was comparing it quite a bit. It was very good and it was very interesting, but I didn't find that I connected massively with the characters in this, which I think is what drew it down a little bit for me. But like I said, I did really enjoy this. It just for me was not a 5-star read like I'd kind of been made to believe it would be. Then I have the one that my boyfriend guessed, and he guessed this straight away when I said I was making this video, and that is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the play that was written by John Thorne, it's Jack Thorne, sorry, by John Tiffany and Jack Thorne, I think that's how it is, and it was like an idea by J.K. Rowling, and I know that a lot of people liked this and a lot of people didn't, so I don't really know if this is fully overrated, because I know a lot of people didn't like it. but I do feel like obviously everyone talked about this because it's a Harry Potter book. And I'm pretending this didn't happen. I got rid of the book. I do not own it anymore because it's not Harry Potter to me. I know that a lot of people enjoyed this and kind of looked at it as the 8th story, but it just really wasn't for me. I don't particularly like the epilogue in the Deathly Hallows, so this felt like it was continuing on something I didn't like in the first place. So I mean, I love the entire Harry Potter series, I love it, but I am just pretending this is not part of that. And I don't think it is. I know it's a play and it's not written by J.K. Rowling, so I kind of feel quite comfortable in like pretending it didn't actually happen. But yeah, so I don't know, but I really just wasn't a big fan of this. I felt like there was too many loopholes in it. There was too much stuff that happened that had kind of previously been said couldn't happen in like the world building, and no, it just wasn't for me. So definitely an overrated read in my eyes. Next up is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which is a massive classic, and everybody knows Frankenstein. Even if you've not read it, you know the story. And I read this thinking that it was going to be this amazing kind of like look at kind of mortality and I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but it just wasn't that for me. I like the story of Frankenstein. I find it really interesting. I find the whole monster thing a really interesting, like a creation, and I really like seeing like the film adaptations and things, but the book for me was just dry. Like the language in it was really difficult to read. I didn't love it. I just couldn't understand what it was cracked up to be, and it just rubbed me up the wrong way, I think, and I just really wasn't a big fan. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure what people see in it, if I'm honest with you. The story, like I said, the underlying story is good, but just the way it was written wasn't, so I had to give this a 2-star, and yeah, it wasn't for me. Then we have Paper Towns by John Green. I have mentioned in previous videos that I either love or hate John Green's books. I really did not like An Abundance of Catherines or Will Grayson, and I found that I really liked A Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska. But there was one book that kind of fell in the middle. I gave this one a 3-star, Paper Towns, and it wasn't really my cup of tea. I didn't like the main characters in this. I can't even remember their names now off the top of my head. I feel like one was called Margot, and the guy, was he like Quentin or something? Anyway, whatever it was, I felt like he was being dragged around by her and kind of expected to do things, and then when he did what was kind of expected of him, she sort of shunned him and told him that that was ridiculous. And I just really didn't like her character. I felt like he was too easily led, and I didn't connect with them, and so I didn't really care what happened to them, I think. And so yeah, for me this was just not one of those books that I wanted to read, and I definitely wouldn't read them again. And yeah, sorry John Green fans, I just wasn't a fan of this book. And then the final book on this list is an adult novel, actually, and I think this might be the one of the first full adult novel books that I read, and this is Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. Now, I had watched the TV show and had no idea what was going on, not a clue, but to be honest, it did really help me when I read the book, because it did help me understand a bit more, because I could kind of remember who was who, and then it was like the book was fully explaining it to me. But I didn't fully understand the point of it. I don't even know how to explain to you what Cloud Atlas is about. It basically has multiple timelines, and in each timeline there is a character that links to a different one. So every timeline has, well, in the film, every timeline, the characters are played by the same people, but they're mixed around and there are different relationships with each other, and I don't fully understand the point of it. I think that was my kind of big thing. Like I said, I did give it a 3-star because it was interesting to read at the time, and I was kind of getting into each story individually, but I don't think that they fully matched up together for me, and I couldn't quite work out why they'd been put together. So yeah, as you can see, I don't own any of the books on this list because I don't keep books, I didn't used to keep books at all, and now I'm keeping books that I give a 4 or 5 star to, and these books were all 2 or 3 stars for me, and so that's why I don't own them anymore, but I would have put pictures up, I'm sure you've seen. Yeah, let me know what your underrated books are, and if you agree with me with any of these books that I've mentioned, or if you love these books and can totally see why they are hyped up. So yeah, let me know what you think. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye guys.